This is the case that people chose to ignore, and I gotta say, for the people that's in power, you guys abandon it. You know, you saw celebrities tweet about it or retweet, you know, about the injustice of the 16-year-old girl, and you saw people spoke on it again and again and go, oh my God, this is terrible. And by the way, this is a live stream, as we kind of wait for everybody to get engaged before we get started. Now they trying to say that people are having trouble getting on. Now why all of a sudden, any other video we've done, there have been no problems getting on. But today, here come the problems, right? Right? Now they don't want to send out anything. Let me try to reboot it. Offline. The reason why it's offline is because they don't want it online. See, now it's a very bad connection. Whenever you're talking about truth or something that's real, here comes a very bad connection. Here comes people offline. But now, we finna get it cranky. Texas P Productions, what's going on with you? Well, while they wait to get going, I'm going to just keep going here. Now, we all know that these two cases around the world I was heard was echoed around the whole social media world when it first came out, especially about Cyntoia Brown, who killed her attacker, somebody who paid to have sex with her because he was rough and abusing her. She had been sexually abused her entire life as a child, and all of these things were excluded, and she was given life in prison with the possibility of parole for 51 years. After 51 years, rather. So she would have to spend 51 years behind bars before she's eligible to even have parole. But old Brock Turner, well, you know what I'm gonna let someone else explain it to you.
Drastically different in outcome, but when you place them side by side, they exemplify just how broken the US justice system is.
1998, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That makes you 16.
Punishment does not fit the crime.
On the one hand, I'm sure you're all very familiar with Brock Turner. Now 22, served 3 months of a 6-month sentence for 3 counts of sexual assault. Turner was an adult when he was convicted of assault with an attempt to rape and sexually penetrating an intoxicated and unconscious woman. Crimes for which the state statute requires at least 2 years in prison. But no, not for Turner. No, in this case, the judge had different plans. Yeah, he thought that in his case, he decided that Turner represented an exceptional case and that he was less morally culpable because he had been drinking at the time of the incident. Translation, the judge felt sympathy for the young, white, promising athlete charged with crime and therefore tried him as if he was a child who had simply made a mistake. Not to mention now, after merely a slap on the wrist for, rape. Brock Turner is appealing his case in the hope that he is able to reduce his obligation to register as a sex offender for life, meaning you are so drenched in white privilege, you not only have to serve just 3 months of an already minimal sentence, but you think the world should just forget that you're a rapist. Now, on the other hand, we have Cyntoia Brown. Now 29, has spent the last 13 years behind bars after at the age of 15, she shot and killed a 43-year-old man who had paid to have sex with her. Although she committed this crime when she was legally a child, she too, like Turner, was trialed as an adult. However, there was little to no sympathy shown to her when she was charged with murder and prostitution and sentenced to life in prison, only to be eligible for parole after 51 years behind bars. The only sentence worse would have been life without parole. In the case of Cyntoia Brown, her tortured past of being a sex trafficking victim who was constantly raped and abused by several men as a child was tossed to the side when she was treated by the justice system like an adult, fully morally culpable for killing a predator who had paid money to have sex with her. Despite actually being a child, she was not granted the same refuge extended to Brock Turner, the strapping young American from an upper-class white American family who, as the judge put it, would have had his life ruined and his prospects of being an Olympic swimmer dampened if he was to face lengthy jail time for raping and sexually assaulting an unconscious girl. Turner was treated by the justice system like a child who was not fully aware of the seriousness of his actions. Cyntoia Brown, who was a child, a tortured child who had endured more trauma in one day than anyone should endure in a lifetime.
So you would sort of smack you?
Sometimes he had not really said one time, the first time he did something to me is when he choked me and I passed out. Because he said I thought he was a joke.
Was not. She was not shown a shred of fucking empathy by the justice system when fighting back against her aggressor and was handed a life sentence. There are several differences to note here. Cyntoia Brown is a person of colour, Turner is white. Brown was a sex trafficking victim who defended herself against a predator. Turner is a sexual predator who preyed on an unconscious woman. Brown didn't have a loving father to write a note of support for her, as Turner's father did. Brown didn't have a judge view her case through an empathetic lens, deeming that hers was an exceptional case and then cut her sentence down to a fraction of what it was supposed to be. Turner did. Brown is still in jail after the system rinsed her dry and held her fully culpable for an act she claimed was self-defense when she wasn't even old enough to buy cigarettes, while Brock Turner has already been walking free for over a year, now trying, and if his limp punishment is anything to go by, most likely will clear his name entirely, given every benefit of every doubt. If Cyntoia Brown was tried as a child, she would have been available for parole next year. But no, we can't give a sex trafficking victim a break. We gotta save all those breaks for the rich white families. The system thought it judicially just to sentence a sex trafficking victim to life behind bars, whilst that same system granted a sex predator the privilege of a second chance. Now, although both sets of circumstances differ, when you put them side by side, they represent two ends of the spectrum on how both our society deals with sexual abuse and race, and how our system has a very different set of rules that bends and breaks based on circumstance, favouring the privileged and crucifying the poor, making excuses for the white and vilifying the black. You'd think it would be clear who was the victim and who was the perpetrator, but this justice system doesn't always see it that way. Follow me on Instagram at Francis M. Maxwell and on Twitter also Francis M. Maxwell. Like and share the video.